Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman by heading over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Hello everyone!
Hello!
Welcome to another episode of Hypecast!
Hypecast.
It's the show where we get hyped about stuff and things. I'm your co-host, Tom Ryman.
I'm your other co-host, David Bell.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. I'm like 80%. I'm like 70% sure.
It's going down pretty steadily, I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to try something. Dave, you're in a desert and you see a turtle on its back.
Why am I in the desert?
You're just in the desert. You're just there.
Why am I there, though?
But you're just there. And you see a tortoise on its back. We have
What's
a third
tortoise?
person.
Hey, what's up? I'm not a turtle, and I'm not in a desert, so yeah.
Welcome.
Who are you?
Oh, no, you know what? I'm kind of tired of podcasts spoon-feeding answers. Like, they could figure that shit out from the foreshadowing of the previous 3 seasons.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Sure.
That's true. They can connect
That I'm
those
Logan
dots.
Trent. Yeah, they should be able to figure that out.
It'll be on the title of the podcast.
Yeah, we got to buy
how
the
you doing?
novelization to know that he's Logan Trent. He's pulling a real Star Wars on us.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
It'll be in the after-credits scene.
Right,
where
it'll
they
be
announce
on.
my
My
name.
name will be announced on Fortnite.
Yeah.
Right. Or it'll be in the goddamn opening crawl to reveal the major plot point that you exist.
The Trent
Like-
speak!
About to say.
Yeah. You know what was really bad?
Star Wars:
That
The Rise of
movie?
Skywalker.
Star Wars. Yeah, the new Star Wars.
All of them
really
kind of
bad.
were, weren't they? Yeah, they were all
Real pieces
They
of
were
shit.
all real shitty.
Yeah.
Like, or just real quick. On the one hand, I totally get people that are like, we're still talking about Star Wars." I get it too. I would like for nothing more than to. I'm not interested in hearing anybody's takes on movies that are now at minimum a few years old. But also, we should never stop talking about these Star Wars.
Sometimes something's it's like the Game of Thrones.
We should
where
be
it's like-
offended by this for the next 50 years.
sometimes you just have to stand back and be like, right, that was terrible. You know,
How
like
good
it's-
does George Lucas feel right now? He's like, yeah, not so easy, is it? Huh?
yeah, feels smug and rich.
I will say there is a great way to solve this, and it's to reboot Star Wars. Because as Jeff has
Yes.
pointed out numerous times, that would be the fucking funniest thing ever.
That
Just
would be
do it.
extremely
Just
funny.
do it. Who gives a shit? Just reboot it.
Yeah,
It would be so goddamn funny.
Fuck it. Harry Styles is Luke Skywalker. I don't give a shit. Actually, no, he would be Han.
we say it like a joke, but it might happen.
It probably
might-
will happen.
Oh, it
You know what?
absolutely
You know
will
what they
happen.
would do? They're gonna do the Star Trek thing, where they like do like a multiverse reboot.
Yeah.
Where it's like they don't want to just reboot it. We can't just reboot things anymore. We have to like tie it all into canon somehow.
Well, that's
so
the idea there, Dave, is so that they can have their cake and eat it too.
yeah,
Somehow
You know-
J.J. Abrams will still be involved with it, which would be
Of course,
terrible.
of course he will.
So, like, yeah.
they definitely nobody at Lucasfilm, no one at Disney. There's no way they came out of that and they thought maybe not JJ. Like, you know, they were like, well, we did J.J. Abrams, so that was good, right? So what went wrong? I can't figure it out. Like, they never even crossed their minds that
Remember
he
how-
might have maybe been part of the problem.
remember how they quietly swept under the rug that they had a trilogy from the Game of Thrones guys that was supposed to be coming out? Yeah.
We were all like, no.
Well,
nah, slow your roll there, partner.
well, they got a massive Netflix deal, I believe, and they backed out or something. They got some. They obviously they got a number of extremely lucrative offers, and they picked the Star Wars one, and then like a little while later they picked this other huge development deal.
Between Abrams, Trank, those two dudes, and fucking Colin Trevorrow, is there a worst lineup that they could have picked for their bigger people? Like,
not really.
Just swings and misses every single time.
Yeah, just a lot of mediocre.
I mean,
honkies.
they're giving the next one to Rian Johnson right now. They're just like, please, you made the only one anybody likes.
Yeah.
Oh no, they finally just went straight up and said, "Hey, Kevin Feige, can you fix this shit?" He's like, "Yeah, I could try." So yeah. No. Someone finally figured out, maybe just go to the guy who makes things work usually. So,
right.
Yeah.
Like the one guy who can do this. Here's the thing. I know we should be getting into the episode, but what Marvel does, what the Star Wars do, it's not natural. For like storytelling wise, like it's not a natural way to do storytelling, and so like it's going to fail more often than it succeeds, right? Like to have like 9 films that need to tie together, like that's insanity. It's not good. It's hard to do. It's why this shit falls apart, and it's why most of the time we shouldn't try to do it. But when you do have to do it. Yeah, get the one guy who figured it out.
If I can use a... Go ahead, Tom.
I was just going to say, he's basically the showrunner. Like, that's what they figured out. They figured out we need a showrunner because this is serialized storytelling. So that's all
we need one maniac who can keep track. Sorry,
people don't understand like the lightning in the bottle that is Kevin Feige. So first off, you have a guy who was born a comics nerd and read enough comics to understand like Guardians of the Galaxy and all of those properties. Then you have him be an assistant to Richard Donner, who is, a really great who was a really great filmmaker. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, rest in power. Rest in power.
Yeah. Then you have him get on the ground floor associate producing all those early things like X-Men and Spider-Man and like all those Daredevil things and seeing all of the mistakes other studios made and learning what not to fucking do. Then he gets a situation where he's giving complete control away from a studio to develop a thing until it gets bought out by Disney. Like 800 things had to go right for that shit to happen, and everyone's like, "Oh no, it's easy, just keep doing that." It's like when you hear shitty franchises like, "Oh, just draft a Michael Jordan, you'll do that." Yeah, like no, man, that's
right.
Logan, the number of times a certain broken website or fractured website leadership would come in and tell us to just make a viral video. Yeah. That's just like,
oh yeah, well, like just do something viral, just do a viral.
Yeah, it's just that's the mentality that a lot of people have in this industry.
Yeah.
Oh, just do the
that
thing.
Is like,
okay, sure.
Website,
yeah, I never thought of that. We didn't think of drafting a Michael Jordan. You're right.
Right. Just do something that succeeds. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying all we need to do to make a dynasty is find the greatest player of the generation. Got it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I just think people would understand it more if they realized like sports and just how it's kind of similar in retrospect of just how hard that shit is to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anywho, should we thank some producers?
I mean, I guess
this is
probably.
A podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have producers.
Is it a This is barely a podcast.
It's a podcast, Tom. This is a podcast. You're listening
if you say so.
to a podcast. We have, so I don't want to use their full name. They haven't given me a name yet, but it's been like a week and a half, and I messaged them. Trent, if you're out there, respond to my DMs.
You can take any fanciful name you
sorry.
want. We'll call it. We'll call you that.
I'm sorry the DMs were so sexually charged, but like, it's still respond to them.
I'm glad
Please.
you said that into a recording.
Yeah.
That's good for our business.
Every time someone takes the podcast producer, I message them and I say, "What do you want to be credited as?" And I don't want to just use the name because what if they're a fugitive, you know? Like what if we're, you know, what if
I
they don't
remember
want
that
to
scene
use
when
their
Harrison
names?
Ford takes time to pause and support a podcast and then continue to search for the one-armed man. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, thank you though. Also, thank you to Del Griffith, the shower curtain fella.
Woo.
Thank you to Lef. Thank you very much, Lef. Thank you to Seismic Charge Noise. Thank you to Jake.
Woo.
Jake. Thank you to Numino Ultra Microscopic Silico Volcano Coniosis Jones. Thank you, as always. Thank you to the baby from Eraserhead.
Always.
Thank you. Thank you to Chiz Lily Tits.
Woo.
Thank you. Thank you to These 7 Bs.
Woo.
Thank you. Thank you to Parisi, Ruizi. Always. Thank you to Davey Francis 4, The Revenge.
All right, let me jump in
you.
here. Thank you to MVB. Thank you to Chester's Prophet.
Woo.
Thank you to Definitely
Woo,
Not
thank
Guillermo del Toro.
Thank
you to Brian, who Tom knows. Thank you to
Thank
Bob
you.
Grenville. Thank you to
Thank
Steven. Thank you to Down
Thank
Home
you.
Chicken. Thank you to Han Toomey, the Confused Cyborg.
Thank
Thank you to Asking Seven. Thank you to Hey, Fuck You, I'm Happy Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dracula, the bus-driving vampire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tiger George Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Beautiful.
Thank you to Dan
Beautiful.
Hackroyd.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
we were talking about Kevin Feige and Marvel. Let's talk about this goddamn What If trailer that just came out hours before we recorded today.
Yeah. They respected us by putting the trailer out before we recorded.
They sure did, Dave.
Marvel heard us. They
got
heard us.
all of the letters I taped to the front of their office building.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, what do we think about this?
I mean,
This-
Any opinions?
I mean, it's What If, pretty much.
It's What If, yeah,
They just nailed the concept of What If. We're getting out to The Watcher. We're getting weird-ass stories where it's just what could have happened, Twilight Zone-y bullshit. And I am really glad that they made the concerted effort to get the actual actors to do the voices for most of these.
Well, I was going to say they couldn't afford Robert Downey Jr., it seemed like.
Yeah, I don't... Who is that? Because I kept looking to try to find out who the actor doing that is, and no site has that information at all.
I feel like the technique they go for, it feels like this, is that if they can't get the actors, then they go for someone who's completely different, because it sounds completely different.
Well, it's
it
similar.
doesn't sound like they're doing a Robert Downey Jr.
No, they're not doing
though.
a Downey Jr. impression, but like the performance is similar.
Right.
Yeah. They're definitely performing as the MCU Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But it's clearly not RDJ. So,
Yeah.
I feel like...
I mean, his contract is so massive and has been renegotiated. Like I'm sure most of these people, you know, were, well, not most of it, but I'm sure a decent number of these actors were kind of like had already agreed that they would appear in X other Marvel things, and then, you know, some other
Right.
people. It's like, what are you going to do when, like I remember we did Collider did an interview with Frank Grillo, who played Crossbones, and he is in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the questions we asked him is whether or not he was in the show, and he just straight, oh yeah, no, I'm in that, and he kind of pointed out, it's like, well, what are you gonna, like, when Marvel calls, what are you gonna do? You're gonna say no?
It's a
Right.
paycheck for vocal work. Like,
Yeah.
why would you just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, unless you're Robert Downey Jr. I think some of these people, they're like, you know what? I need to do something else. Like,
He has to
get
save
it.
the pipes for Doolittle, too.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Thank
That's
you.
right. That's right.
And Sherlock 3.
Boy, I was just violently reminded that Doolittle existed.
Yeah, he pulls something out of a dragon's ass in that.
Several somethings.
Yeah, I mean, we also could get the Judge too. There's a lot of
I
things
swear
for
to
Robert
God,
Downey
if
Jr.
we don't
to
get
do.
the Judge too, I mean, listen.
Right.
The time is right.
I need-
Jeremy Strong is blowing up because of Succession. Let's do
Exactly.
another one. Let's do another one. Get
Yeah,
the gang back together.
this time Vincent D'Onofrio hits someone with his car.
Yeah.
You know? And then they have to call him in, and they call him in to do the stuff.
Maybe
I feel like you two are the number one hypers of the movie The Judge.
It's the Judge.
It's the Judge.
I'm here in Massachusetts. I'm like a half hour away from where they shot The Judge right
you're
now.
like you're almost at the end of the pilgrimage. You're like at
I
ground
know.
zero.
It's incredible.
Ground zero Judge.
Can you
New
visit
England,
the
known
site
for
where
The
Robert
Judge.
Downey Jr.'s character bangs his daughter or
His-
cousin?
Yes,
Who is it?
Probable daughter.
His
Yeah.
his. I don't want to spoil The Judge, but it's his niece.
It's his niece.
officially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that happens in The Judge. Yes, great film.
Yeah.
But yeah, this looks fun. I don't know. This is one where it's like, there's nothing this can do to hurt me. That's most Marvel things. Like the worst Marvel can be now is boring, and I stop watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
and that's it.
each episode is just as good as the premise question. Like, what if Peggy Carter became Captain America? That's interesting.
Right.
What if T'Challa was
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord? You know, and that.
Right.
And it's kind of like the comic. Like, if you just don't like the premise of an episode, you don't have to watch it. It doesn't affect the other episodes. So
Right, it's more like-
Twilight
Right.
Zone.
Yeah, it's like a Twilight Zone. It's like a thought experiment. You know, they're just
Yeah.
like, hey, the show is the concept of the comic series is just perfectly described by that 2-word title. It's just, what if we did this?
Right.
Yeah, isn't that fun? Anyway.
Here's where I'm disappointed, though. Like they should think more. They got to get farther outside of the box. I want to see like, what if Thanos was Joe Pesci? Like, what if it's not Thanos played by Joe Pesci, but Joe Pesci the person? Like, let's have some fun with it, right? Let's really mix it up. What if they're all Joe Pesci? Every single one is Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
What if Robert Downey Jr. from The Judge was Tony Stark?
Oh,
Yeah.
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 And he's just going around fucking everybody's nieces.
Yeah.
In his metal suit. Yep.
Yeah.
Zooming through that the small town county courthouse,
Right.
being like, my dad's
yeah.
the judge.
Oh, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, have more fun with it. You're making What If. Go
Well, you
absolutely ape shit.
give them one season to sort of see if people are into the idea before they go buck fucking
What if
wild.
Mark Ruffalo
Oh my
was
God.
Edward Norton?
Yeah.
And it's
Oh
just
my God.
it's just Bruce Banner morphing into Edward Norton instead
That'd
of the
be
Hulk.
amazing if they did an Edward Norton season. Okay, so now that you mentioned it, Tom, I hope this is extremely successful, and I hope it lasts 20 seasons, just so I can see the Jump the Shark episodes.
Yeah.
Like when they run out of ideas.
Oh,
when
yeah.
That's
we're
what
in
happened with
season
the
20
comic.
of What
Yep.
If.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
comic goes like 100+ issues, and near the end, it's just straight up weird shit. Like, what if Peter Parker became the Punisher because like Aunt May got shot by the mafia? It's so fucking
Right.
strange. Like,
Yeah, because I think a lot of these here's what I imagine a lot of these are going to be. They don't look particularly like clever. Like that whole Superman Red Sun thing, where it was
Yeah.
like, what if Krypton simply exploded 12 hours earlier? That's a really smart idea. If this small change creates this big difference, these feel less like that. They're more like, what if this bullshit happened for no like logical reason, but what if? And that's still fine, but it just doesn't seem particularly like clever. Like Killmonger showing up to save Tony Stark, it was like that was never a possibility. You know, that was never, they didn't have a near miss in the series.
he worked in the CIA, so like theoretically he could have been. It's one of those
Okay.
things. Like I said,
Maybe-
it's really
yeah,
as
maybe
much
they'll
as
put
the
him in
premise.
there.
Prior,
reason.
running a mission against the 10 Rings.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a bad example then.
The one I'm really having trouble with is the T'Challa thing, because I just don't see how that, like, maybe
I
Wakanda
assume it's just that
made
he
space
got
contact
abducted.
first or
He got
something.
abducted instead of
Yeah.
Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we obviously the kind of argument we're trying to make right now, I don't think we can, because we haven't seen enough.
We have to see it
Yeah.
to see what
Right.
happens.
We have no idea
Yeah,
how
maybe-
they're going to weave these stories.
Maybe they're all extremely smart. Maybe I'm wrong. Excuse me, but they just right now the premise I'm seeing, I'm like, I don't see how that would have happened. But yeah, you're right. Is we're judging it based on a trailer. That's what we do here at Hypecast.
T'Challa one would be really weird because like the whole reason that Star-Lord gets kidnapped is because his dad is Kurt Russell. So like, what if the premise is just what if Kurt Russell banged Angela Bassett instead? Like,
yeah,
sure, it could happen. Maybe he did. We don't know. We don't know all the different places Ego went in the 70s.
I mean, Angela Bassett and Kurt Russell would have a beautiful child. So, and that's Chadwick Boseman right there. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. When is this, August?
Yeah.
Yeah, like first week of August, I think. Mm-hmm. It's probably just like right when, a couple of weeks after Loki ends.
Hopefully, okay, so here's my beef. I have a beef. I can't watch a fucking Marvel thing. You have to watch it the day of, or else on Twitter everybody posts just spoilers.
Mute it.
I should. This feels like it's immune to that because it doesn't even feel like you have to watch it in order. It's just like
they're all one-offs. They're all one-offs.
Yeah,
that's the point. That's part of the design of What If. Yeah,
right. And I feel like that's even going to be more irritating because they'll post. I don't know. The fucking internet sucks.
Just mute them. Yeah. That's what I did. I had to mute every show just because I was writing about it for the site.
It's wild. It's wild because people always post it excitedly, like they're like, "This is so great," and it's like, then give people a fucking chance to watch. Because like I stopped watching the Falcon and the Winter Soldier because I got a little bored of it, and then people would I just learned what happened anyway from like a series of GIFs online. I finally finished it.
This is one of the reasons why I hate that streaming has gone to more of the weekly release thing.
Right.
Because I feel it is more inducive to spoiler shit like this because, it kind of incentivizes day of watching with that.
Right. It's the shared experience shit, but, like, honestly, the internet, I get it when we were all fucking gathered around on the, like, in like Times Square watching Seinfeld end. I get that shit because no one had the internet to spoil everything. But now it's like we don't need that shared experience. We don't need to like have that weekly, what's going to happen next? Because everybody on the internet sucks.
It's the same as it was when it was just message boards and Reddit groups. You just avoid it.
I'm old.
I know. It's going to be even worse going forward because the Marvel stuff is all coming out on Wednesdays going forward instead of Fridays. Mm-hmm. So you have to watch that shit on a weekday, which is like, no, I'm watching basketball or I'm sleeping. I'm just, I don't have the energy for that.
I don't know. This is a whole other conversation. I mean, there's a flip side to it as well. Like when Haunting of Bly Manor came out, there were people talking about spoilers about the entire show that day. And it's like,
it's
still like people are going to do it either way. And to me, like, that's even more inexcusable because it's like, all right, like if I haven't watched the latest episode of a thing, that's on me. There are very easy things I can do, which I've done, to avoid getting spoiled. But like if people are swooping in there when a thing just dropped and it's like 9 hours of television that I have to be caught up on, then it's
fuck me for not watching the whole thing.
How did you watch 13 hours of television when it's only been out for 5 hours? What the hell?
What sort of fucking quantum being are you? Anyway, that's a whole other discussion. Dave, I'm happy to sit you down like one of my parents and show you how to mute all the stuff you don't want to see.
Please do. Yes,
I will.
I don't know
very
how.
Easy.
Okay.
So that's What If.
All right, let's talk about this next thing. Disney's Encanto.
Yeah.
This looks great.
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of sick of the animation style that they've been whipping out.
It's so the Disney's shift to 3D animation, I feel like it has resulted in a lot less unique style from film to film.
Well, I agree and disagree because if you go and look at the Renaissance Disney,
those all look the same.
Yeah, they all look the same. They have a style, they stick to it. I get that. I'm just kind of ready for them to.
Well, it's
pick
because
a new
everything
style.
looks like this.
Yeah.
Not just Disney. It's everything looks like this now.
Right.
I miss 2D.
Yeah. Very much so.
Just the option of it. Like I wish there was a better blend of the two, because I don't mind 3D animation or CG
That's
or whatever
the
you want to
thing.
call it, but
They can do it in a computer 2D. Like they
yeah,
can
exactly.
fake
Yeah.
it.
They can animate
They
it too.
could-
Yeah, the fucking South Park has been animated since day one by computers.
Yeah. I think it's money, right? Where they're like, look, it's
Yeah.
easier if everything just looks the same. We don't have to make a bunch of new bullshit.
Disney's a big box. Disney's Walmart or Target. They want everything to look exactly the same no matter where you are.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
I will say, I'm here for the diversity. This is along the lines, like, I saw Coco and I was excited, and now I'm seeing this, I'm excited. I'm excited that they're branching out to having protagonists from all around the world.
Right.
And I will say, like, one of the benefits of the 3D, of the CG stuff is how lush the colors are popping
It really
in that
pops.
trailer.
Yes.
It's so vibrant, and it's just really nice looking overall.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
aside
it looks great.
Aside from the animation style, I really also like the plot of this
Mm-hmm.
from what I've seen, where everybody has magical powers, but this one lady, and she has to deal with that shit. That's fun.
Yeah, there's
And
kind
the
of...
powers look fun.
There is kind of, like... I mean, I know this isn't an immigrant story or anything, but there is kind of, like, as the son of, like, first-generation immigrants, there's kind of, like, that weird feel of, like, when you don't feel as connected to everyone else
Right.
who's, like, similar of a race of you or ethnicity of you, where it's just, like, maybe you don't belong, and I kind of relate really hard to that, so...
Right.
I don't know, it's just, I like the path that the story's taking, and it just looks really nice in terms of,
Yeah.
I mean, aside from, like, the generic Disney face, like, there. And I will say this, as generic as that is, it's better than the DreamWorks face. That is the animation style I absolutely cannot stand. It's so fucking ugly.
Bad. That's
Yeah,
bad.
that shit looks like direct-to-DVD shit. It looks cheap.
Yeah, it looks
What
bad.
what if her power is that everybody she touches she kills, so it's just Rogue? And then it's just the story of Rogue. And then they find a cure, and everybody's like, "We don't need a cure," and they shame her for wanting to be cured.
And she grabs them all.
Yeah, and she grabs them all.
Enjoy my death grab.
I'm like, should have cured me.
No, it looks good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad Disney's pursuing more diverse filmmakers, more diverse voices, and things of that nature. Like you just had Luca this summer,
Yeah.
and then it's a good
annoyance with
direction. It's a good direction for the studio to
Right.
take.
The annoyance with the everything looking alike doesn't reflect the quality of this film.
No, it
because
looks very
it looks
good.
really good otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Disney.
I'm excited for this one.
Disney still looks the best. Everything looks the same, but Disney still looks.
Yeah,
You can tell
because
that
they
you're
have all
watching
the
a Disney.
money.
Yeah, they have all the fucking money in the world.
You'd think they'd be able to make things look different with all that money they have.
Dave, they can. They don't have
Just the-
to.
Right, the algorithm told them they
right.
didn't have to.
Yeah, they're not going to do anything they don't have to.
Yeah.
Fucking one of the
Are we-
largest
all right.
economies in the entire world is Disney.
Yeah. Any more thoughts on this one?
No, it looks fun.
Nah, just,
Alright.
is this the first project Lin-Manuel Miranda has done, like, all the music for that he didn't, like, write or anything?
Moana.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Never mind. Forgot
Yeah.
about that.
I think he might have
Well, this-
contributed some lyrics to Mary Poppins Returns. I'm not positive, but
I still need to see
Oh,
that.
God, I forgot that movie existed.
Was that any
Wow.
good? I was oddly excited for that, and then I never
I just
watched
didn't
it.
see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was a real Christopher Robin. I don't know. I didn't
Yeah.
actually watch it. My mom liked it.
Nice. Yeah, my mom wanted to see it. I don't think she saw it. I'm not sure if anybody saw it. Did literally anybody besides your mom watch that movie?
I don't know, man.
Yeah. Like Disney was just like, it's weird. This one lady
This one
watched
lady,
the movie.
she fucking loves it. Look at her.
If you look at the
loves it.
box office mojo, it just says $13. It's just one
Yeah.
ticket.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah. My mom doesn't see shit twice.
All right, let's discuss Val.
Yeah, this is the documentary
So-
of Val Kilmer. It's hours and hours. It compiled from hours and hours of footage that he's just been filming kind of his whole life.
Yeah, a little, I guess, inside info is I knew a producer who briefly was made a documentary on Val Kilmer's life, like maybe 5 years ago. I don't think it's this one, because she told me that he does it like every 10 years.
Yeah, I remember you telling us about this.
Yeah, he's been trying to make a documentary on his life for a while. If she's involved with this, then congratulations to her. This looks like a good documentary, but it also looks like making a documentary about Val Kilmer's life. I feel like the person who should do that isn't Val Kilmer.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah. That is,
but I mean, this is. I'm sure we'll get that. We'll get that movie. But this is his movie. This is all the footage that he spent his whole life filming, and it's him wanting to talk about this. So I'm sure, of course, there's value.
That's the same thing.
There's value in that as well.
One thing that really comes across when you're watching, like, because like you said, it's throughout his whole life. You just see the different eras of Val, and it really, because he really hasn't been in a lot for the past like 15 years or so. But it really hammers down when you're watching it in the moment, just, oh yeah, this is why that guy was a huge movie star. He's just charismatic as fuck.
And he had like a handful of really, really good roles in the early to mid 90s.
Here's what I'm excited for, is if you've ever watched the behind the scenes documentary on The Shining, what makes it so interesting is that it was filmed by Stanley Kubrick's daughter, which means that no one can tell her to fuck off. Like Jack Nicholson, she's like filming Jack Nicholson getting dressed, like getting ready to shoot, brushing his teeth. And you can tell he's annoyed with it, but he can't tell her to fuck off. And he's Jack Nicholson. And that's what I feel like we're going to get a lot of, is a lot of people like, it's Val Kilmer with that camera.
You hear it in the trailer.
Yeah.
You hear somebody saying, "Are you filming?" And then Val's like, "I'm not shutting this off until right till we get to rehearsals."
And they're like, "Come, Jesus Christ, Val!" Yeah. But like, that's great. That's going to be like, whatever you think about Val Kilmer, it's just I'm less interested in his life in this. It's more just like, I guess it is technically still his life, but just watching all these people on all these famous movies behind the scenes in these moments that they probably like decades ago were like, he probably won't do anything with that footage. And then this comes out and they're like, fuck.
What Brando shit do you think he has?
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
God. I'm so excited for that. Holy
that is
shit.
Brando shit.
Oh, man.
If he has, if he has any footage at all from Dr. Moreau in this movie, I will be shocked, but I will be extremely delighted.
Holy shit!
Oh my gosh! No, I remember you telling us that a while ago, Dave, was the first time a lot of us heard that he was sick.
Oh yeah,
because you told us that, and you were like,
"Yeah,
he's not telling anybody." He's like, you were like, my friend is telling me he's sick with something.
Yeah. I knew. I had the scoop.
Yeah,
I had the scoop on Val scoop. Yeah, I've been sitting on this for like 5 years. So I don't know. I don't know what this documentary is related to that. I just know that he's been trying to do this for a while, and I get why now, because I thought it was a vanity thing. And this documentary actually proves me wrong, because it's more like he's like, look at all this fucking home video I have.
I mean, it is a vanity
thing. Someone
thing,
wants to watch this.
But it's like,
it's an earned vanity thing.
Right.
Yeah.
There's way more substance to it than I would have expected. Like, he dedicated decades to making a time capsule.
What if it was all just behind the scenes of the snowman and nothing else?
Oh, my God.
Just the snowman.
Mm-hmm. That's the one he was really interested in.
Yeah, that was the only story.
One scene of him recording Tommy Lee Jones and Tommy Lee Jones saying, "Get that shit out of my face," and then leaving.
Yeah. One moment of Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
So many things that could
footage.
be. Yeah.
Oh God.
God, there better be Batman footage.
Shit.
Joel Schumacher, Tommy Lee Jones. Oh God.
There's so many maniacs on that movie.
This was one of. This is probably the biggest turnaround I've had.
Just fucking everyone. Tommy Lee Jones being grumpy as hell, and Val Kilmer zooming around like the world's biggest dickhead.
Jim Carrey.
Oh,
the funny thing is that his biggest role, or like the most famous one that everyone loves, is Doc Holliday, and that's probably the most boring set he was on. Because it's just like Kurt Russell and Sam Elliott, who are just like not gonna do shit. Like,
those really strike me like the type of dudes like, all right, we're wrapped for the day? Yeah, all right, I'm going back to my trailer.
Yeah.
And then
I'm gonna go have a nice dinner and watch a ball game and go.
It's just like watching baseball, drinking shitty beer.
Kurt Russell just talking about being a libertarian
I was about to say his libertarian ass is not hanging around.
It's just footage of them combing their mustaches for like half an hour.
But yeah, this is probably the biggest turnaround I've had since hearing about this. Because first hearing about it on paper, I'm like, oof, Jesus. And then seeing this trailer, I'm like, oh, yeah, I do want to see that. Thanks, Val.
Yeah, you get I had no idea.
Yeah,
like I don't think anybody really knew that except for people like friends and people who worked with him, that he had all this footage.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
I knew that there was a doc coming out, but as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh wow, this is I did not know it was like that.
Yeah, this is like for real. Like it's like fuck, I have to watch this.
Right.
We can move on.
Yeah, Fear Street Part 2.
Fear Street,
Tom,
1978.
Are we going to do what we just watched for any of these, do you think?
I figure we could do like one for all three.
All right. That's a lot to cover, but yeah.
I mean, this weekend's Black Widow, so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then, in that case, real quick, without spoiling our We Just Watched, did you guys see the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Quick thoughts?
If this was a Pokemon evolution, Fear Street would be the middle. The first one would be Riverdale, and the end game would be American Horror Story. This is just right in the middle of that shit. It's, like from the filming style to like the plots to like the like kind of gratuitous violence and stuff, it's like right in that middle ground of Riverdale to American Horror Story weirdness.
I got more Stranger Things vibes. I liked it. I wished it was scarier. I really like the director. I thought it was well made and stuff, but it's not trying to be scary. Like it's not that it failed.
Yeah, not really.
It's that it's not trying to be that scary. But I liked it all right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think I was going to say what you're going to say. I have no like expectations or like I remember reading some Fear Streets, but it's not like big childhood connection, you know?
I completely did not know about Fear Street. Like, I knew about Goosebumps, but then when everyone was saying, like, oh, Fear Street, remember? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, hell yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
It just completely blanked on me. And so, I have no frame of reference or, like, expectations for that. Like,
that's almost...
So there's no disappointment level there other than, like, if the movie is bad.
That's kind of ideal, and I think they did this. I've noticed some Fear Street fans disagreeing, but I think they did the smart thing by not directly adapting any books. They're like, no, we're just going to take the universe and do our own thing. I have seen part 2.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen part
spoilers.
3 yet. I'm still waiting on my goddamn screener.
Can you hook us up, Tom? On this podcast, can you tell us if you can hook us up?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
They won't even give me one, Dave. What do you think I can do for you?
No, with part 2. With part 2.
Oh, with part 2? Well, shit, we can do a watch party later if you want. I can just put it on.
All right. We'll invite a bunch of
Netflix does a
people.
cool thing where they just add it to you. Link your actual Netflix account with like your press account, so it just all your screeners just show up in your Netflix no matter where you're watching.
That's so much easier than the shitty ways other studios
like
do.
it's like so much easier.
That actually works really well for them too, because people can't pirate it that way.
You still get I mean
you can
but
open
it's
up OBS
the same.
It
still has a watermark on it. Like it still has my email address on it, like any other screen. This is inside baseball.
Sure.
But
Fear Street, by the way, the title Fear Street, doesn't that sound like a spoof of a horror that would be like in like Scream Stab? Like it's like if they made like a meta Nightmare on Elm Street and they were making it would be called
it sounds
Fear
like
Street.
A teen series of books. It's exactly what it
is.
is.
It sounds like a teen series of books
such
that
a
was
90s.
Yeah,
It's just like,
this is 80s actually, maybe even 70s is when the first one came out.
I guess what I'm getting at is, you ever love something or know something your whole life, and then you step back from it for a second, you're like, wait, that's a dumb title. Like, it just never occurs to you.
Like He-Man?
Yeah, like He-Man, exactly. Where it's just something you've accepted, and then one day you're like, wait, that's stupid. Yeah, Fear Street, just kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was 89 was the first Fear Street book. Christopher Pike came a little bit earlier. He was more mid-80s.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's the title seems perfect for what it is to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for the next one. They're I don't know. They're low stakes in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I know they're not trying to be like really scary, they're just kind of fun. Again, Stranger Things. They feel very Stranger Things in tone.
I will say this: I think I'm enjoying it more because it's a streaming thing on Netflix rather than if I saw it in theaters.
Oh God, can you imagine driving to see this?
Like,
No.
That's exhausting.
Yeah, it just the level of like disappointment of what you had to go through to go watch it. It's
made.
no.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's still a
there's
lot of
certain
fun
things.
to watch.
Oh, absolutely. But part of that fun is the fact that you get to watch it in the comfort of your own home. It's a comfort watch. That was the thing. Is it was like cute. It was like, oh, I can make some popcorn or whatever, and like fucking get in my bathrobe and watch Fear Street. Like there's just certain things that are perfect for streaming. This is one of them. And the fact that they're doing it week by week, where they're just like 3 movies, here they are, every week. They're perfect to me in that sense. Like, they're not amazing films, but I think they kind of nailed it with what I needed personally these Fear Street movies to be. So far. I haven't seen the final 2, so.
I'm glad that they dropped them in the summer, because it feels like a better summer horror movie than if this had come out like in October.
That said, this would be a good month of October thing. That would be what they'd normally do, but yeah,
And
you're
it's
right.
got the real bubblegum horror feel. Like,
Also, horror movies come out all the time.
Yeah.
We've learned that. They don't even, save them for October that often.
No.
So,
I was really surprised that Halloween was actually dropping like mid-October for Halloween Kills instead of like last week of August or whatever bullshit they've been doing.
I think it's what it was targeted for last year before they bumped it.
Yeah.
That's the thing is I think here's the reason is that horror movies on Halloween is something you watch. People don't go to the theater on Halloween.
No, they go to parties or they trick or treat or they throw pumpkins at people.
Right, or they throw pumpkins at people. But they sit at home and they watch horror movies. So honestly, I think the movies that are the biggest hits on Halloween are the ones that have been out already for a while, which is why they tend to come out earlier.
Yeah, but they've been getting like really weird where it's like I understand like second week of October, first week of October. They've been hitting like last week of August. Like I think didn't the It movies come out like last week of August too?
September.
They want them to come out in theaters and then they want them to be on streaming, I think.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's like when I worked at Halloween Horror Nights, I expected Halloween to be a huge day, and they were like, absolutely not. It's our slowest day of Halloween Horror Nights. It was like, why? And they're like, because they don't want to be here. They want to get candy and shit.
Yeah, no one goes to the mall to see Santa on Christmas Eve. Like
exactly. Yeah. So, it all makes sense. Should we talk about Beckett?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking excited for Beckett. As I wrote in the notes, it feels like John David Washington, it feels like his dad called him and was like, you got to do a thriller, man. Do a 90s thriller.
It's like he handed...
Like your old pop would do.
Yeah, it's like he passed off one of his Nobody Believes Denzel scripts, because that was a genre.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I'm
just
so
Denzel
excited.
Walking like, what are you talking about? Come on.
I can't fucking wait for this. He's on vacation and the cops want to kill him he's a fugitive.
It's North by Northwest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can't fucking wait.
I am glad that this is coming out because I feel like, I mean, after Black Klansman, I feel like Tenet was supposed to be the big, like, John David Washington is a thing, and it just got completely screwed, which... I mean, I still haven't seen Tenet, and I kind of don't want to, but I really like John David Washington as an actor, so I'm glad that he's getting
Tenet
kind of
isn't-
like a mulligan or just some other thing, because I really want him to I want him to succeed as a leading man, because I
don't
like
think-
what he does.
I don't think anybody could watch Tenet and think this is his fault.
Yeah.
Like, there's
That's what it
certain
just
movies,
seemed like from the trailer. So
there's certain movies that you can accidentally, like Showgirls was a movie that, like, famously, what's her name?
Elizabeth Berkley.
Yeah, where it's like, Verhoeven was like, I feel bad because I told her to do that stuff, and then everybody was like, wow, she's terrible. So I think there are movies that can tank a career of an actor that's not their fault. Tenet, it's like he comes out of it clean. Everybody comes out of it clean except for Nolan. Like, it's one of those movies where it's like, who wrote this? Like, whoever wrote this, they should stop writing. But
it's one of those movies that's not a showcase for anybody's acting, because Nolan famously tells everybody, no, don't smile, don't emote.
Yeah, don't emote. And, like, you can't blame someone for doing a Christopher Nolan film. Like, you know, like, most of the time, that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
So,
like, there's a reason he's allowed to spend $100 million or $200 million on a weird time travel reverse movie, or doing a Dunkirk or whatever the fuck he wants to do, because he gets results. So
Nolan has earned the right to make Tenet a bad film, but he earned the right to make it. So I am also I feel you, where I was like, I'm so happy to see him doing stuff that isn't Tenet.
That's like
I mean, I don't want to, like, compare him completely to his dad, because that feels a little unfair, but he absolutely has his dad's presence. Like, when he's on a screen, you're like, okay, yeah, this guy's a movie star. You kind of have to, because he's very similar to his dad, I think, his presence. They are different people, obviously, but they have a lot of the same sensibilities, probably because it's his dad. Yeah.
It's like when Jacob Dylan was like, I don't want to be compared to my father. And it's like, really? Because you sing just like him.
And, like, so, like 3 years after that, he was, like, begging people to compare him to
he was like, please, remember me?
Just talk about me.
I'll grow up my hair. I'll wear scarves. I'll talk like that.
One headlight.
Right. But luckily with John David Washington, he's not, but even if he was like a clone of Denzel, I'd be like, that's great.
Yeah, perfect. We got another one.
We could use more.
Right, yeah.
We got another. This backup one. That's great. Like, we could use a couple more.
It's like Wyatt Russell, where you're just like, oh, thank God, we got another one.
I feel like he's going to end up more of the Wyatt Russell route rather than the Colin Hanks route, which is just like I was hoping more from you. And he's fantastic, but it's just kind of hard to not be Tom Hanks, you know?
Yeah.
Or Chet Hayes.
Chet.
Oh, man. We get a Chet Hayes once a generation.
Yeah. So, yeah, looks great. Let's talk about Jolt.
Sure.
This
is Crank with Kate Beckinsale.
They make one of these like every fucking month, don't they? Yeah. These like action straight to DVD, even though we don't have straight to DVD anymore.
It's meaningless.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is
I'm exhausted with, like, when they're trying to have a tough female-led action movie, and then there's certain lines of dialogue that you just straight up see and like, oh, a dude wrote this. Because there's several moments in here when I was like, a dude wrote this. Then I check the credits and a man wrote this. Because it's like...
Well, yeah, that's always how diversity in Hollywood goes. It's just in front of the camera, which is better than nothing. Yes. But still, come on. Like, all the executives are still a bunch of white dudes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So.
It's that thing of like, this is why Upgrade was so delightful, because the way these work in my mind is they make like 10 of them a year, and one of them comes out as being like really good and surprising, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's what Crank was. Although I feel like Crank kind of started it. And you get it's just like we're not like other action films, and it's like, actually you are.
Yeah.
You're like a bunch of other action films
that came out this year.
Yeah. So
also, it's nice to see Kate Beckinsale again.
It's always nice to see Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah. Kate Beckinsale. No more Total Recall reboots for her.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Luck. Oh man, I forgot about that film.
I got nothing else to say about Jolt.
Yeah, there's really, like, I mean, it's maybe 80% of Lucy, I guess, is like,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
Ooh,
So.
I want to watch Lucy again. Lucy is a film that I remember it goes places. It really goes places. You don't expect it to.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy is like,
Well, of course you
it's
don't
like-
expect it to, Dave, because you're only using 10% of brain.
Right.
What if
Right.
you use 100% of brain? Then you use brain to make Lucy. Yeah.
you use
Yeah.
brain to make
out
Lucy.
of
yeah.
whole brain comes Lucy.
Yeah.
What was that? You guys remember Salt?
Yeah.
Remember Salt? Why
Ooh,
would they
yeah.
call a film Salt? Why
That's
would
a
you
thing
make a
I've
film
noticed.
called Salt?
When you have, like, the female-led weird spy ones, you always get these fucking bullshit titles like
Right.
Salt,
Like
or
Salt.
like Peppermint Arcade or whatever the new one's coming out, or like the Hurt Chorus, that one Blake Lively movie. But then when it's a
Right.
dude, it's always just some bullshit like Jack Reacher or Carl Punch or like
Right.
Carl
Well,
Punch. I
in
would watch.
fairness,
Yeah.
Salt is, I think, her name.
Salt
in
is
it.
her name, yeah.
Yeah.
And Lucy
That
is
doesn't
her
make it
name.
better. Why the
Yeah.
fuck would her name be Salt?
It's her last
Her
name.
last name, buddy.
Yeah. Salt. I didn't mind that movie. I just don't remember it.
I can't remember a thing about it. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, of all these movies, the one I
Domino?
liked the most was fucking Haywire, even though, you know.
Well, it's a
but, like,
Soderbergh movie
Yeah.
too. So.
It's a Soderbergh, yeah. I think they did it right, because it's just, they did Bond, and they got
So-
Michael Fassbender to show up and be eye candy. Like, they just got, like, I don't
Channing
know, it was
Tatum
fun.
as a himbo. Just-
Yeah, exactly. They got a bunch of actors that would normally be leading action films, and they're like, she's going to sleep with you and then leave. And it was delightful.
And as trash as Gina Carano is, like, she does
a good
do action.
She's fine
like,
in it.
Yeah, like,
Terrible.
I mean, Soderbergh
She's
was
not
just
a
like,
good
this
actress,
woman
but-
kicks the shit out of people, and I just want to make
Exactly.
a spy movie around that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
It's not his fault she turned out
She
to be
sucks.
trash 10 years.
Yeah.
And boy,
How
that,
do you fuck up the Star Wars
But again,
bag? Oh
here's-
my god.
But here's the thing: is she's no
she was
different
about
to
to
me
get a
as like
show. Anyway,
Get
Yeah.
paid. She would have been able to live off of her entire life off of fan cons and just
right,
enjoy Ben Shapiro movies, lady.
yeah.
right. Oh, she will.
All you had to do was not be a fucking asshole. Anyway,
Right. Foundation.
I
this.
put a note in there.
Yeah, it's when I knew it too. As soon as they were like from one of the visionary minds behind
That
Man of
was-
Steel, I was like, it's David S. Goyer, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the exact moment where I was like, fuck. Because, like, at first I'm seeing it, I'm like, oh, Isaac Asimov, okay, let's see, done that. And, like, oh, no, okay, I'm out. Yep.
I mean, my eyes just glazed.
have-
It's such a generic future dystopia movie.
As soon as Lee Pace starts saying, like, the millennia of conquering I'm just like, oh, fuck this bullshit.
Yeah, this is-
I am so out.
Yeah.
That's the problem when it's like this gray, like bland, bleak world, and it says from Isaac Asimov. I'm like, I don't have time for this. That's
No.
my feeling. Is
It
like I
looks
don't
like-
have time for this. I can't.
It looks like
focus
Chronicles
on
of
this.
Riddick, but without Vin Diesel. So why the fuck would I
Right.
watch this piece of shit?
It might be amazing. I just don't. I can't. I have other things I got to do.
Yeah.
I can't watch this fucking like
Absolutely
show. It's,
not.
Well, it's
I
in
will
all
say
It's
the.
this-
exhausting.
It doesn't help that every trailer they make for something like this is the same thing, where they don't really. They just lean
Right.
hard into all the tropes they know that everybody knows because
Yeah,
they
they
want to
don't
get
tell
those
you.
across, but they don't tell us anything about what makes this story like unique or special. Or it's Isaac
Yeah.
Asimov. Okay, he wrote a lot. Why should I care about this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the other thing is that like people matter. It's one of the things Marvel understands is like everybody in this seems so bleak and serious, and I'm like, you know,
It's-
Star Trek had characters that like we liked. Like, do have characters we like.
It's so
Like-
boring to see actors of the caliber of like Richard Harris and Lee Pace, who I've seen in other shit and I know have personalities, just be like, The millennia of chasing this, the fortress of the mind.
It is.
Exposition.
Yeah, if you've seen, it's Jared Harris. If it was Richard Harris, that would be amazing.
Or sorry, Jared Harris.
But like, if you've seen like, Pushing Daisies or Chernobyl or like anything else with these guys in it, and then you watch a trailer Mad Men. You watch a trailer like this, it's like, oh, you're just like, it's like watching Henry Cavill in like Superman. Because you're like, oh, you're wasting this person. This person is way better. They can do so much more.
They can play a compelling character.
The thing is like, you can have like a character who's kind of that type of dark and like somber thing, but they can still be entertaining. Like Henry Cavill does that shit in The Witcher, but he's still fun to watch.
Right, he's great in it. Yeah.
Well, because they give him things to play off of. It's also like, this style, it's like I have a special... I have only a little bit of my brain that I can devote to this, and I know that Dune is coming out, and it's like, no, I'm gonna wait for that bullshit, or like a Nolan film. Christopher Nolan's is similar, where it's like, I only have I think after Westworld, it was like I can't spend my time on shit like this anymore.
If your trailer,
like, we're going to try to mind fuck you, and it's like,
if your trailer has a dude monotoning about, like, the creation of a society for Dennis, I'm just, I'm fucking, get the hell out of here. No way.
Nobody has time for this. What the fuck?
No. Also, you want to know about No Time? I was reading notes on this, and Goyer was like, my goal for this is for it to run 80 episodes, so we don't have to cut anything out of the book.
Jesus.
So I'm like,
fuck off, David S.
Absolutely not. If you think Apple Plus is even going to last 80 enough for you to get 80 episodes, you are insane. What the fuck?
It makes you realize how special The Lord of the Rings is, because, like, that was a big ask. That was a huge ask of the audience, because it's like a fucking book report right away. They're giving us history lessons.
Show, and I don't know anything about it, and I don't think anyone cares, like, other than hardcore fans.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
They'll find out, man. They spent $500 million on that first season.
Yeah. Oof. But this is an Apple Plus show, and I mean, do either of you watch anything on there?
I've seen a few things, yeah.
I will say I've been pleasantly surprised, because I really thought that was just going to be a complete...
They have good
in terms
shows.
Of content. They have really good shows. Ted Lasso is the best comedy of last year. For All Mankind is surprisingly compelling, and I've been enjoying Mythic Quest.
Mythic Quest I like a lot. I haven't watched For All Mankind yet, but that's the Babylon 5 showrunner. What's his name? He's a big-time sci-fi.
Ronald D. Moore.
Ronald Moore, that's right, yeah.
So basically, that show it starts off in the 60s, and the first thing you see is somebody walking on the moon for the first time, and it's a Soviet. So it's just an alternate reality from there where Soviets were the first on the moon. And if you're like into space stuff and just like weird historical drama and shit like that, it's really solid and just has a great cast of TV actors. So Apple Plus, like I got it for free because I got an Apple product for a year, and it's just been surprisingly solid. So
nice.
Yeah.
I won't be watching Foundation though.
Absolutely not. Nope. That will be in that pile along with that weird 80s fitness show with Rose Byrne that I don't want to watch.
Physical.
Yes.
It is the exact opposite of Ted Lasso.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
She's just, it's intentional. She's the most repellent, mean-spirited person who's ever lived. But yeah, this show is just, I like the actors in it, but like, this trailer is the most boring derivative shit you've ever seen, and then fucking David S. Goyer's name on it. I'm just like, nope.
I will hand it this. It doesn't look cheap, though.
I was about to say, and it probably cost them a lot of money.
This is Apple. Yeah. They're spending money on these shows. They want you to get an Apple Plus subscription.
Yeah.
Has anyone coasted more off of like one credit than David S. Goyer? From like,
well, it's a handful of
Dark
credits,
Knight.
but it's
Dark
the Dark
Knight
Knight
and
stuff.
Blade, I guess. But yeah,
he's just haunting movies. Like he's haunting Hollywood, where it's like, if I could just send one message to executives, it'd just be like, it's right there in front of you. The problem is right there.
Have either of you seen David S. Goyer?
Yeah,
like what he looks like.
Course.
He looks like Stanley Tucci's Wario. And I can never stop laughing at that because it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, he's evil Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
He's got the J.J. Abrams thing.
He's Tanley Succi.
Yeah.
Stanley Tucci.
I'm a David. I'm a gonna win.
I'm a make a show.
I'm a make a Superman.
All right. Let's talk about this Hulu show.
Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah, with Steve Martin Short.
Yeah.
Martin Squared.
What?
Martin to Martin.
Martin Squared.
Yeah.
Martin Squared.
Yeah, they're just two old guys living in a condominium apartment building, and there's a murder, and they're trying to solve it.
I thought they were done in general, and I'm glad to see them.
I don't think they're done. I think it's just they're very, very choosy, and this is a project that Steve Martin developed for himself.
It's a welcome return.
Yeah.
Just, are you ever upset when you see Steve Martin? We watched one of the
unless
movie
it's
nights.
Shop Girl.
Yeah. On one of the movie nights,
Shop
we
Girl?
watched Inner Space, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like, I've missed Martin Short. And just, here he is. Like, no.
No, this show looks like a lot of fun.
Big,
I'm into it.
Big Bored to Death vibes from there. A few guys.
I never watched it.
That.
I never watched it. That came out. That was on TV during about a 15-year period where I didn't have TV, so I just didn't see anything.
But yeah, pretty much similar, like kind of crime solving, but with like a weird like vibe of premise and just comedic actors in there because it's got Ted Danson and Zach Galifianakis that says Martin Short and Steve Martin. So I'm just happy to see them on screen again. I like those two.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I have no notes other than that. It's
it looks fun.
Looks delightful.
I was surprised it was a series. I thought it was going to be a movie.
It's a series?
Yeah.
It's a series, yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, damn.
Yeah, they're
Good on them.
they're going all in, man.
Yeah, I feel like
Cool.
There's really not much to say other than just we like Steve Martin.
Steve Martin and Martin
it's
Short,
just-
man. They're making a murder mystery show. Fucking, what else do you need to
Also,
hear?
Amy Ryan's in this, and she fucking rules. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have a lot to say about the next thing. That's the thing.
Oh sure, the
Oh,
Woodstock
man,
'99.
Oof. Yeah, I have things
Peace,
to
love,
say.
and rage. I guess I don't have too much to say except like, are they interviewing like the band members?
It doesn't look like it. Or it looked like they were interviewing maybe one of the guys from Ween. It looks like they're talking to somebody from a band in the beginning of the trailer.
They were talking to Moby.
Moby, that's
Moby.
what it was. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, apologies to Ween. I was watching it while I was working, so that the first half of the trailer was I was just listening to the dialogue.
I want this to be like the Jinx, where Moby confesses to causing it
to
all.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess what it is we've all old enough to remember Woodstock '99,
Let me.
and it's just like,
yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Well, let me.
that's what I was gonna get to. Is like it's.
Let-
they're mystifying it of like you get a bunch of people together and this happens and that, and I was like, yeah, you get fucking Limp Bizkit on stage.
They
That's
also
like,
a big complaint I have with this, like a lot of awful shit happened, but like this trailer is really focusing on like the young white male rage aspect, which is undeniably an aspect of what happened. But they're really like, this was a perfect storm of horseshit.
well, yeah, it sucked.
In the trailer, they go real quick past like they're charging $4 of per bottle of water, and they go right past that, and they're like, and the porta potties were unusable. They go right past that. It's like the organization and execution of this event was fucked.
This is I guess
very shallow thinking.
Yes.
It's just like, I'm pretty sure that an event happened 2 years after Woodstock '99 that probably had a bigger influence on the way that society and politics got fucked up that led to modern day weird white rage.
Yeah,
right.
So
I guess.
Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I was just going to say, it reminds me of Val, but in a bad way, where it's a documentary. It feels like it's told from the people who don't understand what went wrong.
There's a lot of false equivalence being drawn here.
Who did the shitty stuff. It's like, look, you got a bunch of like bunch of like popular shitty metal, and like you have them at a festival that sucked, that fucked everybody over. Like it's like the Warped Tour sucked too, but it didn't. You didn't like camp out there and have to live there, and it's like this is what happens. Like I don't know, like
it's forced pop culture history, because this is based off of a podcast that came out 2 years ago in 2019 that The Ringer did about
Bill
this.
Simmons, right?
And it's like, and it's just one of those things where it feels like we've really gotten to a point where everything has to be an anniversary for a thing. Like, oh, remember 12 years ago when, I don't know, whatever bullshit movie you watched as a kid came out? I was like, no one cares about that. And same thing with like Woodstock 99. No, like, the only interest I would have in a Woodstock 99 documentary would be an hour long and them focusing solely on the aspect of them trying to like track down the people that did the assaults and like the actual crime shit, because that's actually important. Right. In terms of like the music or what it was in capturing or any of that stuff, it's bullshit. No one gave a shit about Woodstock 99. No one gave a shit about Woodstock 94. Right. It's like, then if it wasn't called Woodstock, no one would care. No one would you watch a documentary on Lollapalooza 98? No.
Right.
Who the fuck cares?
It would be more like the fucking like 96X Crush tour or something. Like this would have been branded like 3 different corporates. Yeah, it's because of the branding. I said,
other than the crime, like there's nothing seminal about it either, because even the bands no one gives a shit about. Ooh, Limp Bizkit, like okay, like
exactly. Like there's nothing special. And Tom, you're really right, because like there were other festivals around this time that shit didn't happen at. Mm-hmm. And it's like, the idea of being like, it's just the culture of the times. It's like, that's such an old person way.
Yeah, no,
like,
it's not at all.
Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, no, you ran a shitty festival and people rioted.
Right. Like, I'm sure all that was a factor, but it's like, you need to approach this the same, like, shade and Frodo way everybody approached Fire Festival, because it's the same thing. It's a bunch of fucking idiots putting together a festival that was way beyond their means, both financially and logistically, and things went very, very bad as a result, as a direct result.
It feels like content for content's sake.
Right. Well, that was like Logan.
Who's the audience for this?
Right. You saying the anniversary thing reminded me of like, it was this weird instinct we do. Everybody was sharing that Shining, like, July 4th photo. Yeah. This July 4th, like it was a thing that happened. It was weird. Like, it was weird that everybody shared that. And it was, again, like an anniversary thing where they're like 100 years ago. And it's like, I mean,
that's been happening.
It was a movie from, I know. It's the same as this. It's the weird feeling of like, we love doing that. I don't fully understand it, I guess.
I just, like I said, the only aspect of this that would interest me is the crime, and there's been enough like in-depth long-form articles which actually get into the stuff like that you can read about, where they talk to victims and, you know, give them voices and things like that. And in here, I don't see any of that. All it is a bunch of pop culture commentators and like maybe some of the musicians like, it was fucking crazy, man. It was like a powder keg going on. I was like, I don't.
Right.
Okay, man. Like, yeah, no. You had a shitty festival with a shitty festival and people acting shitty. That did not lead to like the outburst of white rage storming the capital of our country like 5 months ago. And you making the line of that is absolutely like ludicrous bullshit. Like,
they do. They make that one of the people they talk to in this makes that connection.
Yeah, it's Wesley Morris, which I was very surprised from because he's usually way more thoughtful than that. I mean, so yeah, it's just I mean,
maybe they probably just, you know, you sit someone down in front of a camera for like a couple hours and then you pick out the shit that works. Also, we should stop making movies based on podcasts.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe this is me feeling like being old, but like making all right. I need to amend that. We shouldn't make documentaries based on documentary podcasts. Something about that where it's like Woodstock 99, you know where that fits? In a podcast.
I mean,
keep it there. Like, it's not important enough to
podcast was exhausting because it wasn't one podcast. It was a fucking 8-part series. I'm like, how are you getting 8 parts out of this shit?
Well, it's not really any different from making a movie that's based on a magazine article.
Right. That's why I feel old saying it, because it's like
I agree with what Dave said. Instead, maybe not movie, but a documentary off of a podcast just feels like hat on a hat at some point.
It just feels like they're just taking it. And
it's adapting. I mean,
adding
again,
video.
to me, it's not super different. It's just adapting it into a different medium.
Right.
I think this is a stupid story to do that with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It, like everything, it doesn't work until it does, you know?
Yeah.
Like, hell, that Zola movie is based off a tweet, which that didn't seem like a good idea.
It's
and
based on a tweet that was lies. So, that was even... It was just, sure, whatever.
But, like, that's the thing. Everything, who gives a shit? If it's a good story, then it's a good story.
Well, people only
it doesn't
cared.
matter where we get
people only cared because they said it was true.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh,
But,
I
like-
know what... Yes, there are those instances. I've seen mockumentaries that were about things that aren't, like, interesting unless they were true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, like, I saw a mockumentary and then I learned it was all made up, and I was like, why did I see that? It wasn't... Like, if you're going to make a mockumentary, give me a fucking Blair Witch or something, you know? Like, do something
Discovery
outrageous
Channel
with it.
got really awful with that, with some of, like, their later Shark Week shit.
Yeah.
And it was just
Yeah.
absolutely garbage. But, yeah, like I said, this is, like... There's no story here. Like, unless you're going to victims who got hurt or something like that and trying to follow up on there... I don't give a fuck what Moby has to say about a shitty concert from 22 years ago that no one really remembers other than people wallowing in shit about. Like,
yeah, if you're gonna do this, talk to the people who were there, talk to the victims of the assaults that happened, talk to the people, the organizers, the promoters who put this event on. Don't talk to fucking pop culture commentators who were born 2 years after it. Like,
I love the
don't talk-
90s this.
don't
This is
talk-
not a VH1 shitty show.
Don't talk to the people who had a green room, you know, who were like could leave.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. They're talking to the musicians like, yeah, that crowd was nuts.
That was
It's like,
weird.
I don't give a
I don't
shit.
give a fuck what the Offspring has to say about
Yeah.
Woodstock 99.
Dexter Holland. Yeah. Ooh.
Motherfucker came, he played his set, and he went to his hotel afterwards.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
have any
it really comes
insight as to
down
what happened?
It comes down to if this documentary was like, here's a story you didn't know, and it was compelling, that'd be one thing. But it really doesn't feel like they have a story. They're just analyzing it. It's a bunch of people who either weren't there or weren't like, or who were on stage telling us what they thought about it, and that's it.
It kind of... This is going to sound very weird because I don't think either of you saw this trailer, but they dropped a trailer earlier this week for a Kurt Warner biopic.
Oh, the one with Zachary Levi?
Yeah, and the whole time I'm watching, I'm just like, who the fuck cares about Kurt Warner's... But like, he's one of the most boring quarterbacks other than just like, oh, you know, he sucked enough that he didn't play football for a while, got a real job, and then he played football again.
Right. He was he won a Super Bowl in his 40s, which awesome.
Yeah.
But like, also, it wasn't like the trailer really makes it seem like he was just some guy working in the grocery store. It's like, no, he was a pro football player.
It makes a lot more sense when you see that it was made by a branch of, I forget what studio is doing it, but their branch is devoted to Christian films, and Kurt Warner's been like openly Christian. But the weird thing about that is he's not even like loud about it. Like, he's not like Tim Tebow, you know? So even that's boring, but that's the same vibe I get with this, with like Woodstock, where I'm just like, yeah, this was a thing that happened, but like, I mean, other than the main thing of like the assaults and shit, no one fucking cares about any of this. Like, it could have been any other concert, you know? There's nothing seminal about this moment in time in terms of music or like grabbing a zeitgeist thing and you trying to like make it into something where like Dave was bringing up, like, or Tom was bringing up, like blaming the Capitol riots and all of this shit is just wrong and lazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. It's the worst impulses we have about documentary and expose sort of filmmaking and writing.
I think some of it does come from being alive. Like, the older we get, the more we're gonna like see documentary and true crime stuff based on like shit we remember. and it's going to be a real bummer.
How
It's
awesome
gonna be,
is the Elon Musk biopic going to be?
I mean,
Right.
we already see that. We got the Sully biopic 3 years after that fucking shit happened.
oh, yeah.
like
that shit.
it happens all the time already.
Right,
How-
but you know what I mean, where
Okay,
it's like stuff that...
Tom, how dare you insult the inspiration for Hero, the theme of Drive?
Let's move on to news stories.
Let's move on to the news stories. Yeah.
All right, but we got more patrons to thank. Big... Sorry.
Sorry,
everyone.
man. Oh, you're getting the Rod Steiger
I tried.
treatment.
I tried.
Did
All
you
right, let's
drink
try
the
this again.
Kool-Aid Molotov cocktail?
Yeah. Big thank you to Kool-Aid Molotov says, fill me with the blood of your billionaires and drink deep, my brothers. Thank you. Thank you to E.T., the extravagant terrestrial.
Woo.
Thank you to Cody Johnston's time machine noise. Thank you to Pete Vorpagel. Thank you. Thank you to Glitterous. Thank you, Glitterous. Thanks for having Jason Pargin on. Here's $25. Thank you to the Midnight Patron. What patrons at midnight? Thank you.
All right, let me swoop in here. Thank you to Exploding Runes. Thank you to Andrew How. Thank you to Vincent. Thank you to Rev MD. Thank you to Dr. DNA. Thank you to Lauren Gucci.
Thank you.
Thank you to Bootler Bootlesson.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Yep. So, what's going on here? Lovecraft Country, I thought, did great. I looked it up. The ratings were good.
The ratings were good. It was well received by viewers and critics alike.
I have only one guess. Is like, did the creator like piss somebody off?
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, because I haven't finished it, I'm still halfway through, but from what I've read, the first season covers the entirety of the book, so it might just, like... I don't see why they can't continue, because they did that with The Leftovers, but yeah, maybe it's just the creative team just didn't have an idea, I don't know.
It would be... Okay.
These actors are definitely going places. I mean, Jesus Christ, like the cast.
That might be part of it.
Yeah, I heard news that the actors assumed that there was going to be more. You're right, is maybe the actors were all like, we're going to need more money, rightfully so. The creator, maybe it was just the perfect storm of them all being like, we're done. We told the story. Let's just move on. Cause
I mean, Watchmen had a similar thing where, I mean, I know you guys, Tom and I have had many talks about our differing opinions on it, but Damon Lindelof was just like, that's my story, I'm done. And they easily could have gone multiple seasons with it, but they're just like, eh.
Yeah, the fact that the actors didn't seem to know with this, but then again, actors aren't told things. Like, they don't tell actors
the source,
things.
Right,
So,
the source of their surprise may just have been when they signed their contracts to be in the show, they signed for 3 seasons or something like that.
Exactly. I would really respect it if they were just like, and that's it. That was the story. We're done.
Although I will say it seems kind of weird that the 2 shows led by black leads, Watchmen and this, are the ones that they did that, rather than, say, like, Big Little Lies or Leftovers or any of their white folk show.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was circling, is like, what the fuck? What's going on here?
I mean...
Because I could have watched 10 seasons of this. I would have loved this to jump the shark. I would have loved to see the bullshit.
I think it did in the final episode, but Logan hasn't seen it.
Did.
Yeah, that last episode is dog shit.
Well, okay, hold on. I want to push back on that.
Okay.
It depends on your expectations for the type of show you're watching.
No, it doesn't.
For me, for me personally, I thought, I don't want to spoil anything, but I thought like the final, reveal was like, all right, we're going to go in that direction. We're going to go fucking wild. We're going to go absolutely fucking wild. I enjoyed Lovecraft Country from beginning to end. There was some real heavy shit in it, obviously, but it didn't ever forget to also be like campy and weird.
Yeah.
And so like for me, it's just everything worked for me in that sense, and there was so much talent behind it.
Yeah.
It could be terrifying and it could be ridiculous in the same episode sometimes. And I really appreciated something that was such a tremendous swing. So like I was never bothered when things went wrong, because the only thing, whenever I get annoyed, it's the mystery box stuff. It's why I stopped watching Watchmen. Is when they're trying to make me feel like they're so smart by withholding stuff. Lovecraft Country, I never felt like they did that to me. I never got angry at it. So for me, it was either really, really heavy shit or really fun shit that somehow managed to mix together in a way that worked for me. So I don't know. I have very little criticism of that show, and I would have wanted 10 seasons of it. But I get why it might be a finite thing.
I will say also, like I mentioned earlier, that this and Watchmen were the two ones that they decided not to do more seasons on, but they're also the two that seem the most CG intensive. Like,
right.
Little Big Lies doesn't have a lot of CG. And
right.
Same thing with other ones. So that, I don't know if that factors in, because they gotta pay for those fucking dragons and that Game of Thrones new one that nobody wants to watch. But
I think if Lovecraft Country, I think if it was just pure like weird nostalgia, like a Stranger Things, Things, I'm glad they're doing limited, but that's one where it's like, yeah, you could go for like 10 seasons of that bullshit. Will it be good?
Oh, I
Not
bounced
really.
on that show after season 2.
Lovecraft, I think Lovecraft it's very emotional. It deals with really ugly things in our history. And so I can see that being exhausting to write,
Well, Misha Green, the showrunner, creator, tweeted out her part of her Bible for season 2. So she was working on a season 2.
Oh.
They had like an idea.
Okay.
I was trying to get that in there. They had ideas and plans were in motion for season 2. It is super unclear why they decided to cancel after doing sort of like a soft renewal. I suspect
that changes a lot.
What Logan's saying is probably pretty close to the truth. This is just, they just looked at the numbers, but
it's fucked up that they didn't have faith in it, because it was one of my favorite shows.
It could be a lot of
on HBO.
It could, they're entering like Jonathan Majors is probably about to start filming his Marvel stuff. Like Journey Smollett is like the actors are blowing, the two leads are blowing up into a lot of other things right now, and availability might have been a question. Like, you sort
Journey
of
Smollett get another show greenlit? I think recently.
I think that sounds right.
Yeah,
but like it may have been in a situation. I don't know. Who knows? These deals.
No, you're right.
These things fall apart. It could be that they couldn't film it for another 2 years because Jonathan Majors wasn't going to be available, or because Journey Smollett wasn't going to be available. So I'm
guessing it was all of the above. It was like, there's a huge budget here. We're having issues pinning everybody down. It's gonna cost a lot. It's gonna take a lot of time. Let's just dump it. That's easier. And they don't care.
Yeah, like I said, at least like I haven't finished the series, but from what I heard, it finishes the first book and that kind of concludes everything. So at least it got a clean break. Hopefully,
kinda concludes, but not really.
It absolutely does not.
Fuck.
Yeah, and there's some real. It's not the weirdness of the campiness. There's some pretty big writing problems in that last episode. Anyway,
the last episode isn't great. It's more just that the show put me in a place where I wasn't like putting it. I guess you could say my standards were lowered, but it's just like I was just enjoying it so much that it didn't really matter.
Sure.
I'll just say I always support people of color reclaiming shit from Lovecraft.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He's such a fucking filthy racist. Jesus
the difference
Christ.
between like that and like Game of Thrones is Game of Thrones was like we're building this something, we're building, and then it all comes crashing down. Lovecraft, I just didn't. I don't know what I don't know exactly how to describe it. Their style was more loose. It's more Monster of the Week.
It was way more episodic than I was expecting. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like the overarching story was like felt less important almost.
It for sure. Like season 2 was going to involve like an alternate America.
Right.
Anyway, that's right. Logan hasn't finished it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It's fine. If it
Logan's
ends like with a
plenty of
cliffhanger
time.
like that, I really, no.
Yeah.
Kind of sort of ends on a cliffhanger like that. Anyway.
Let's talk about Hubert Jackman. Huey Jacks.
Huff Jackman.
Huffjacks, he
Huge
Instagrammed.
jacked man.
Huge Jackman.
Huge Jackman. He
Huge
like
Jackman.
tweeted or he posted he posted a pic of Wolverine claws that seemed to foreshadow something.
No, thank you. Yeah, hard pass. Hard pass right there. Absolutely not.
I hope he's just fucking with people. Stuff needs to end. I watched the first episode of Star Trek Picard, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, we need to
And now
just
there's
stop.
another
I made it to
season.
like episode 2 or 3. I've heard you talking about it like the past couple of Hypecasts. Picard sucks, dude. It is not good.
It's just
Oof.
like, and this is not new. They ended TNG, and they ended it on a really good note. I don't want to spoil the last episode of TNG, but like they ended on a really sweet moment with Picard. And then of course they're like, movies! We're making movies. And it's like, okay, well, that's not new. And then like Nemesis, a movie I do like, did end on a real bummer. Like the Star Trek, the TNG timeline ended on a real bummer. And it was kind of
does it, baby.
yeah, but it was kind of Star Trek Nemesis. It was kind of fucked up that they ended it that way, and so I get why people would be mad. And then we got Picard, and it's just like, let it die, just let it die. I don't trust you with Star Trek anymore. The point is that Wolverine. I didn't like the movie Logan, but at least it
Movie
ended.
sucked.
But
I
at
remember
least
you
it
and I remember you had seen like an early screener. Not
Yeah,
screener,
we went to
release to go see it. And
The
then
director,
you apologized for spoiling it to me because I had to like edit the layout for that. And I'm like, you didn't spoil shit. I was calling this Children of X-Men like for 5 months, and that's exactly what that trash was.
I remember me and Tom went to the Q&A, and I believe there was a director Q&A after the screening, and I don't think we stayed for it. We were just like, we got stuff to do.
I got a
was
dirty look while watching it in the theater because I laughed out loud at the end when she does the Shane speech. I was laughing like Max Caddy in Cape Fear because of how stupid it was.
It was very
like,
dumb.
Yeah,
I guess similar to how Star Trek Nemesis kind of ends on this bummer, like Logan did it like, people liked that though.
See,
but
I have the
like,
opposite feeling for this than you do, because you're talking about like Picard continuing like, oh, Star Trek was great and it ended, it was a great series. I fucking hate the Fox X-Men movies. I don't like that universe, and the idea that they're bringing him back and that might be a continuation, like, I really want no part of that. I would rather they just start from scratch. I understand bringing back Deadpool because he's a character designed to not give a shit about continuity, but
yeah,
I don't like the world that Bryan Singer created, and it's just bad X-Men to me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think it's a misconception to assume that no one else can be Wolverine. I get Professor X because it's Picard, but like you could still get a bald guy, and they did. They shaved James McAvoy's head. It's weird that even though they replaced Patrick Stewart, who I feel like out of all the X-Men cast was the hardest to replace, they for some reason are like, but we got to keep Logan, and I guess it's because he's like immortal and junk.
That's the thing. Like, Hugh Jackman is actually getting older, which makes it even worse. Like, there's tons of actors you could replace him with. Fucking go get... shoot, why am I blanking on the name? Homelander from The Boys.
Anthony Starr.
Yeah.
Anthony Stark is a guy who I've been wanting for that if they were going to replace him for a while, because he's just pretty much Wolverine on Banshee. And then, there's tons of other actors there that probably we don't even know of who have interesting takes on that. I don't need Hugh Jackman having to like get CG smoothed face for the next like 5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to like play this character. I don't want that version of the character. I don't want that side of the X-Men universe. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Let stuff end.
I'm
excited. I'm excited for the multiverse fucking Spider-Man stuff, but even that stuff part of me is like, you know what? Just let it all be. Like we don't we don't have to make everything canon. We don't have to like morph together all the versions of things.
Right.
It's weird.
It's
weird that
okay
we're
for
doing
things
that.
to be self-contained.
Right, like there was a day where I was like, let's stop remaking stuff. Now I'm like, can we at least stop like looping it all into canon? Like, for Christ's sakes, it's not enough that we have to keep remaking the same stuff. We have to also make them all like fit in the same universe. And like, can't you just say, okay, this is a new X-Men. It's a new X-Men. It's, you know, those other X-Men? It's not that.
They're all
like,
dead.
Yeah.
It's
they're all dead.
You forgot to feed them and they died.
There was an interview about the Suicide Squad where producers asked, like, how does this fit with the other one? And they just said, we don't address it.
Yeah, we just don't mention
there
it.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
You don't need to.
I mean, it's not a dumb question.
Yeah.
No,
It is.
it's not a dumb question.
We
but
had a movie come out 4 years ago called Suicide Squad. This one is called The Suicide Squad and contains some of the same characters.
I mean, we're at this point, superhero films, I'm glad it hasn't affected other genres and movies, but the superhero genre is like, it's folding in on itself.
Oh,
it's like an MC Escher drawing.
Holy shit.
It's collapsing.
I don't know how it's going to sustain for too much longer, but we'll see.
I will say this. I really don't think there's anything behind this because I don't see Feige being lazy / dumb enough to take that baggage on. Like,
I suspect it's going to be like a video game or some shit.
Something like that, or maybe like some like box set or some shit like that. I don't think he's coming back to play Wolverine in the MCU for like a role.
Yeah, here's the alternate theory is Hugh Jackman one day was like, I'm going to tweet this picture and a bunch of assholes will podcast about it. Like, yeah, all they have to do is tweet out one picture and...
Hugh Jackman just jollily laughing in between like box jumps and listening to musicals, just like, this will be a laugh for today.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm going to get a bunch
of I mean, that's
likes.
what I'd do if I was a fucking person in one of those friends. I would just fuck with people like crazy. I feel like John Boyega is the only person who gets that right.
Oh, it'd be amazing. All he has to do is tweet a picture of a lightsaber and like a date. Like a future date, and he'd fuck everything up for everybody.
Yep. It would be so fantastic. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. No. If he wanted a job, I feel like he could do that. And in like 3 months, Disney would call him like, so how much do you want for this movie that the internet's excited about? Like, that's the thing is fans have way too much control, plus social media. Like, yeah, fucking anything's possible now.
Well, it's still, I don't know. It's still, I think it seems like some people are not registering that it's still, when it's a movie that gets made because it's social media demanded it, it's still filmmaking by committee, which is, we've all agreed is bad.
It's bad.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, to not lighter news. Richard Donner died. I mean, this is not, he was 91, so
yeah.
We were talking off mic, like it'd be weirder if he was still alive.
Right, it would be weirder if he just never died.
Yeah, it'd be weird if he never died.
Like 30 years from now, the news story is like, Richard Donner will not die.
Yeah.
Richard Donner planning Lethal Weapon 7.
But there's something, I feel like Richard Donner, I this isn't a case of like, oh, they don't make him like they used to. I feel like they never made him like Richard Donner. He made some of my favorite action movies, horror movies, and children's movies. And, like, people don't do that. People don't make The Goonies and The Omen and Superman and Lethal Weapon.
He had such a hand on the formation of so many different genres.
Yeah.
Like, one person's lucky enough to do one of those goddamn things.
Right.
He did, like you said, like, Superman pretty much is every superhero movie is still trying to catch the high of that first movie.
Right.
Lethal Weapon, I don't think I need to explain all of the fucking franchises and movies that have tried to replicate that lightning in a bottle. Goonies, as you mentioned, you brought up Stranger Things and a bunch of other fucking Fear Street, and it's Goonies pretty much. And then just The Omen, like...
Yeah, The Omen.
How do you... Like, it's... I'm going to go back to sports. It's like seeing like a Wilt Chamberlain stat line from like 1950s where he's like averaging 30 rebounds a game, 50 points a game, and like 17 assists, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right. It's often one of the things they don't definitely like they don't do this anymore is horror used to be directed by directors who did other genres. Like now it feels like if you do horror, you only do horror. But like fucking Christ, like I guess it's not just that he did that wide variety, but he nailed it. He nailed the genre, every single one, to such an extent that it just doesn't feel like the same person making these.
Yeah,
He never became a slave to his style either.
Yeah,
he doesn't have an he's
exactly.
He's like he's a journeyman filmmaker. And they still exist. I think it's part of the reason we don't see it as, I think part of the reason we don't still see it as often anymore is that there's a lot more directors working now. It's like the opportunities are being spread out much more than they were back in like the 70s and 80s for these big budget movies. But like Richard Donner didn't really have an identifiable style, which sounds like a dig, but it's not. Like it let him do anything pretty much.
Some like myself would argue it makes him a better director than say Tarantino, which isn't a knock against Tarantino, or any like any unique director. It's like you could argue that if a director makes a movie and it's just so identifiable as theirs, they failed. Yeah. Where it's like, no, Richard Donner, he made the movie. He made the movie that was written, and he made it so well that you can't tell it from his other films. Oh, as opposed to a filmmaker that like sticks their identity in the goddamn movie.
One thing that I had always blanked on, and I just remembered because I edited a thing about it earlier, he fucking directed the Twilight Zone episode with Shatner and the Gremlin.
Yeah, he did.
Jesus.
Like,
yeah.
He's just been so fundamentally a part of so much of pop culture that you don't even realize without ever leaving like a big thumbprint where it's just like, I'm Richard fucking Donner.
We need a renaissance, a Donner renaissance style, because I think it is important. There's all these stories people are telling about him now, like the one about him telling like a crewman to go home to go to his son's like baseball game or something like that, where like it was just it's a job.
It's a job,
and he did a great job at it. But he's not like as far as I know, there's no stories of him fucking verbally abusing actors or being like trying to method them or like Kubrick them. He was just like, look, we're making a movie, we don't have to kill ourselves doing it, and he did that and made some of the best fucking movies. And his so like there's something very important about that. Is
him getting Gene Hackman to shave his mustache off for Superman by tricking him, and that's just delightfully hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
You have to take that with the grain of salt that Gene Hackman is a legendary asshole.
Right. I also I love what set up this, like the story that this sets up, which is Gene Hackman playing Lex Luthor and being like, I ain't getting rid of my mustache. Everybody like, Gene, you got to get rid of your mustache, man. You're playing Lex Luthor. That's delightful. So I don't know.
It's like you mentioned earlier, it's just one person would be lucky enough to touch like any genre,
right,
with as much formative stuff that he did, and he just did it across everything, and he made it look effortless. There's just not really filmmakers like that anymore. They don't and there's never really another contemporary that you could really put next to him because he was just his own thing.
Yeah. He's terrific.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's it for news stories.
Let's name some more producers.
Let's thank some more producers. Thank you to Tux.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tux. Thank you to Ricky Cilantro. Thank you to Norm from Cheers. Thank you to Space McNulty. Thank you to it's that guy. Thank you to Nolan Mayton. Thank you to Vaccinated Man, Andrew McGuire. Thank you to AJ. Thank you to Tip Drizzle.
Now let me jump in here. Thank you to Burrito Mouth. Thank you to Mrs. Voidis.
Thank you.
Thank you to the ghost Dave Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you to Aaron Burser.
Thank you.
Thank you to David Knife Boot Henson, MBA CVA. Thank you to Christopher Robert Sparts, Esquire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick. Chill.
Thank you.
Thank you to Vaccinated Jay.
Thank you.
And thank you to Pie Guy.
Thank you.
Dave.
We did it.
Dave. We're
Tom,
not.
it's my birthday.
I don't care. I
right.
don't care because it's not.
It's my birthday.
It's not while we're recording it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you don't get
This
to make
exists outside of time and space.
Yeah, that's right. You don't get to make birthday
it's my
demands.
birthday.
Tell me what the fuck deserves some more hype.
Like a movie?
Yeah.
I have a movie that deserves more hype. This is called The Woman Who Ran. This fascinated me. And like the more you read about it, the more it makes sense. But you probably saw the trailer. You guys did. It's like a pretty mundane fucking trailer. It seems to be a series of conversations this woman is having with friends. And it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's coming out a limited release on my birthday, which is the day people are listening to this, the day it released. And it becomes clear that it's the title. It's kind of clear from it's about a woman who's like been married to this guy for a long time, and this is the first time he's out of town, and she's getting back together with friends, and there's just a subtext to the conversations where it's like clearly like she's in a shitty marriage. It sounds like, and that's the movie from what I can tell.
That's kind of, this director pretty much just does stories about human condition and stuff like that. Like, there's really nothing, there's no surprise, like, oh, the husband's trying to kill her for insurance or anything.
Yeah, this is out of South Korea, right? This is, and South Korea, God, there's some fucking great filmmakers coming out here. And this was just one I hadn't heard of. And as you pointed out, this is the actress from The Handmaiden, which is from Chan-wook Park. If people haven't seen that, I see it. It's pretty fucking intense.
It's on Prime, and I think it's one of the movies that they own, so it's not going to leave. So check that out if you have Amazon. If you know what Oldboy was, you probably have a guess of the intensity level of The Handmaiden. Yeah, but she was fantastic in that. Yeah, she was. This isn't that. This is a series of conversations, and it's just getting really good reviews. All right. The marriage thing is kind of weird because, as I noted, like, this actress had an affair with the director of this film that ruined that director's marriage like 4 years ago, and they're still together. So that's pretty nuts. I don't know like how much of that is going to be playing out in there, but it's kind of weird to watch it with that type of lens. There's got to be, there's got to be something in there. Yeah. But there's little, like that's what it sounds like. There's a thing in the review here saying that she keeps saying the phrase "people in love should always stick together." Like little things like that imply like, oh, she's in a relationship she's got to get the fuck out of. At least the reviews don't really. This is the weird thing. The reviews are like, we're not going to spoil it, and it's like, what? It's just called a series. What? Yeah. But it's like, is there like a big reveal? Is he like a werewolf? Right. Like, what is? All I know is it's a series of conversations, and it's getting amazing reviews. And if that sounds like your type of jam, if you like to sit and watch like Waking Life, this is probably the thing for you. I'm not being sarcastic. I love watching Waking Life. You were talking earlier about like burnout on like superhero stuff and things like that. And, I love superhero movies, so I'm generally not going to get burned out on MCU, but I want pieces that are just slices of life of people just being people. That shit is like literal drama. Yeah, like, I was about to say, what it is that, look, I enjoyed Endgame, but the amount of drama in that is nothing compared to other movies where it's just fucking people before in a row. Midnight. Yeah. Like sometimes
Marvin's Room.
Yeah. Oh god. Sometimes all you need is a couple people in a room, and you can do something that's fucking intense and thrilling. It's just the right story. And I think this is a good reminder of that. Yeah, it's one of those movies that you need. Like, not just as a palate cleanser or anything like that. It's just,
you need that if you want to have like a good film viewing life. It just gives you more stuff to watch and more experiences to have. And
Right.
I'm never gonna shade shit like that for trying.
Exactly. Like, look, I like cotton candy, but, you know, I can't always eat cotton candy, and that would be disgusting if I did. Right?
Exactly.
So you need a balanced diet, a balanced movie diet, and it's all good. I wouldn't call this broccoli. This is like a taco. I think the analogy fell apart.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like a
anymore,
judge.
yeah.
It's
like
like
the
a judge.
It's a lot like
No.
the Judge.
I would say The Judge is actually kind of a stupid movie, and that's why I love The
Kind
Judge.
of.
Oh, it's an extremely
of.
stupid movie.
It's an extremely
That's the thing. There's nothing better than like a folksy, like, we're gonna win an Oscar movie. That's just
That is
oh
just.
no, you're not. You're
it is
The
adorable.
Oscar movie that trips over its own dick is, man,
Yeah.
I mentioned this earlier on Twitter, just fucking hillbilly elegy.
Hillbilly
I can't
elegy.
believe you motherfuckers wasted Glenn Close and Amy Adams
So
performances
good.
on that dumb dildo story.
Oh,
Fuck that
yeah,
guy.
Oh,
you
that dildo
stupid
story.
pieces of shit brought
Such a
his
piece of
fucking
shit.
bogus ass story to life. Oh man,
But yeah.
he yada yadas how he goes from being a broke preteen to being already at Yale.
But
Yeah,
Glenn
he
really
sure
thought
does.
that was going to be the one that broke her. Like, she was like, this is going to be the one that gets me my Oscar finally. And
Yeah.
just, no, I feel horrible for you. I'm so sorry.
Nope. That's what you get.
Ron Howard made that movie.
It's what all of
Like,
you.
he saw that.
That is what all of you get for helping to sell this guy's propaganda about his own life.
Right.
But yeah, there is few things more delightful than when a clear Oscar bait thing just
Just fucking
shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
just trips and falls
face
out the
plants.
window.
Especially when it's like that, where everybody, because sometimes they trick people. Sometimes it wins the Oscar, and then a year later, everybody's like, "Wait, no." But I love it when it immediately. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like it when
Crash.
it's one of these where people are like immediately like, "No, I don't think so." I don't think so, Hillbilly Elegy. We see you. We see you for what you are.
yeah, like it's in the moment. It's so stupid that you refuse to acknowledge it instead
Yeah.
of like Tom mentioned, Crash. Or
Crash, yeah, Crash made it.
Crash beat out Brokeback Mountain. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Sure did.
Wow.
movies are dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, watch this one. The Woman
Yeah.
Who Ran.
The Woman Who Ran looks good. Yeah, I want to see this.
Yeah, it's
I don't
It's
even care
nice.
if you guys want to. I just want to see it. It looks good.
No, I do too. It's nice when we get hype for Korean films that aren't just big action stuff, because it seems like that's typically the thing that carries over here.
Yeah,
you know?
well, that's the thing, is unless it's like horror. That's why Parasite was so neat, because even Parasite
Yeah.
still had to kind of sell itself on being like a horror.
Mm-hmm.
But like it works both ways too. No one in China is watching The Judge. They should, but they're not.
It's really
They're watching Iron Man.
It's the big genre films, and then even then, it's very specific genres.
I would
Right.
give anything to see a Chinese person watch The Judge and then like just see them debating later if he fucked his
Whether or
niece
not
or his daughter.
his niece or his daughter.
Yeah.
Right, because The Judge would translate over. Like it's not. I get the idea that certain movies culturally don't work or something like that. But like The Judge is universal.
It's the universal language.
You could show an alien The Judge, and they
It's
get
like
it.
math. It's
Yeah.
the universal language. You put
universal
that on the gold record
put
and
it-
send that to space.
You put it on the gold record, you get one back that's like, wait a second, did he fuck his niece?
Fuck his niece.
Anyway, we're aliens.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. But we're not coming there, because what the fuck was that movie? Oh, The Judge. All roads lead to The Judge.
All roads lead to the judge.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that it? Are we done?
I think we're done. I think that's a so.
Logan.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Anytime. What do you want to tell people? What do you want to plug? Where can people find you? Do your things.
Usually when I plug stuff, I always start with please review podcasts of people that you like, including our friends, because that actually helps a lot with rankings and stuff. And then if you want to see more of me, catch me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at the Logan Trent, and I edit stuff. Correct. So yeah.
Yeah, check them out.
Woo!
Cool.
Check all that stuff out. Yeah, you guys should rate us on the apples and the other things wherever podcasts.
Tell them
Wherever podcasts.
Wherever podcasts. Dave, tell them what else they should do.
They could go on our Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We have exclusive podcasts on there, like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder is a Maniac, and Star Trek The Next Futurama. New episode of that coming out next week.
That show has been delightful.
Oh, yeah. It's fun to record. It's one of those where we know, like, okay, we're going to need at least 2 hours. We're going to not barely talk about the comparisons, and we're just going to go off on tangents. We normally watch movies every Friday night. We're not doing it this Friday because we're all on vacation. But, check that out on another Friday.
Yeah, on a different Friday. That's not today. We also have a store at tpublic.com/store/gamefullyunemployed where you can get t-shirts, masks, mugs, stickers, posters, all kinds of things. So check that out.
Yeah, unrelated. If you know of a company better than TeePublic, let us know by the end of the month. Because we're gonna be switching over.
Sounds ominous.
Yeah. Sounds like TeePublic isn't very good. But for now, go on TeePublic and get shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, check out Tom's stuff on Collider. He writes very good articles.
Tom, plug your Collider shit more. It's great.
Fine.
It's a delight. If people read, they should read your stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
Write delightful articles, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Like if you can only read so many things, you should read I don't know, if your grandma sends you a letter, but Tom has a thing on Collider that day, do the Collider thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your grandma can
or
wait.
Read it to your grandma.
Read it to your grandma.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, have your grandma read it to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
What we're saying is take your grandma for granted because she's always going to be here, like Richard Donner.
Always going to be here.
We will never die.
I will never die.
Jeff saying that thing, it was on the new Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, his exit when he was a teen of the I'm young, I'm going to live forever, was one of the funniest things I heard.
I got my whole life ahead of me. What's the worst that could happen?
What an amazing bit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. All right. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye. Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, Corlew, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.